In the first examples, we're going to learn how to find the area of parallelograms. So these two that you see on the screen are both parallelograms, and the area of a parallelogram is found by doing area equals base times height. In the past, we've learned for squares and rectangles, we say area equals length times width. And the only reason that this is going to be a base times a height is because your height is not always necessarily along the side of your shape. So if I'm looking at this parallelogram here, I could say my base, which could be considered my length here, is 6. So I'm going to plug that in. Area equals 6, and this is a multiplication. So 6 times, and then I have to decide which one is the height. Is it 4 or is it 5? Okay, the height has to go straight up and down. You wouldn't measure yourself standing sideways. So your height has to go from a right angle. So this is kind of a giveaway here. A right angle from the base straight up to the top of the shape. So 5 is not your height. Your height is 4. So area equals 6 times 4, which is equal to 24. And that would be square centimeters if you put a unit on it. Okay. If I'm doing the next example down here, again, I'm going to use the same formula. So when you show your work on your homework, you would plug in the formula, area equals base times height, and then you'd substitute your numbers in. Okay, my base and my height are going to come to a right angle. So I'm seeing this is my height, and this would be my base. So I would have area is equal, this is just extra information over here, 25 times 8. And I could plug that into my calculator and find the area. Okay, so the big takeaway, you're still doing base times height for your area. You're still plugging in numbers. Just you really have to be careful of what number you use for your height. Okay, that right angle is where your height and your base connect. It is not ever going to be on an angle on a side, like slanted. The next example here says the area of a parallelogram is 35 over 42. The height is 1/7. Write an equation that relates to the height, base, and area of the parallelogram. We're going to use the formula, area equals base times height. We're going to plug in for what we know. The area is 35 over 42, so I'm plugging that in for area. And that is equal to, it doesn't give me the base, so I'm going to say B for base, times the height, which is 1/7. If I want to get B by itself, I want to know what the base is. Instead of multiplying by 1/7, I'm going to take 35 over 42 and divide it by 1/7. So 35 over 42 divided by 1/7 is going to give me my base all by myself here, right? And so to divide fractions, I keep the first one, I change to multiplication, and I multiply by that reciprocal of the second. Here I can do some simplifying. Okay, I'm going to go through this part quickly because this is not new, dividing fractions. So I would end up with 35 over 6. Okay, and then I could continue on to say that this would be 5 and 5/6 if I change it into a mixed number. Okay, but again, you're going back to that basic, use the formula, and plug in what you know to solve.